I just want to listen.
Hello and welcome to an incredibly dense, intense, packed swim brief. And I am lucky as always to have with me from two of you on the West Coast, Eric Wyken out visiting Speedo HQ. Eric, how are you?
Doing a bit better. For sure. On the mend, I guess.
Are we gonna clarify that for everybody? We're just gonna leave it ambiguous.
Yeah, I think
that rash finally cleared up. Good job, Eric. All right.
I think everybody can figure it out at this point. I traveled out to work this week for a few days on Monday and tested positive yesterday morning. So my work trip got extended a few days. So holed up in my apartment.
And you're not necessarily able to honor the true purpose of traveling to a whole nother place, right?
Luckily, a lot of the work is remote.
Yeah. And he's always on the West Coast, and we don't hold that against him. Joel Rawlings. Joel, how are you?
Okay, I'm Cal Ripken going with the Corona streak here so far, and I know.
Me too, man.
Yeah, nice, well done. I'm assuming we'll all get it at some point. But I also kind of want like healthcare to kind of like figure a bunch of the stuff. So I'm hoping like the Eric Wykens of the world are just kind of like the bunnies that they're using to test all the good stuff so that when we finally get it, we get the like one pill gone kind of a deal.
Yeah, they're going to have those good Pfizer antivirals by the time, we get it. Maybe, Joel. I posted on Instagram because you guys know I had a swim meet a couple weekends ago, and I put a photo of myself in an N95 that was incredibly uncomfortable that I nevertheless wore for 6 hours straight, and did not. The only thing I took it off for was to drink water.
Uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I'm taking uncomfortable because I think we mentioned this before, how we've denigrated the word mild to include things like no longer have sense of smell or taste.
Right.
I'm like, I'm not into mild. I'm pretty anti-mild. Yeah. I'm pro discomfort. I'm anti-mild.
Yeah.
I want that.
I got Omicron, so I didn't lose any of that in about
good
6 to 8 hours of just being a little bit extra tired. So today's better. If I accidentally cough, it's because my throat's pretty dry.
It's because you're so robust and healthy, Eric.
I did. I was trying.
It's because you're not broken down by yardage and works. Is that? Are you gonna slip that in there?
You guys broke me down. I tried a KN95, but there was just such a gap above my nose that it was just peering out. So I was just doubling masking on everything else. So.
Yeah. You don't have all right.
I didn't know where to go with that.
Yeah, no, I didn't. I thought I had something and then I didn't. We got a lot to talk about, as I said. First, people who follow this podcast know that we're constantly on Coley Stickels watch. And it seems like there has been an update every couple weeks on the Coley Stickels front. And, we've been watching, we've been analyzing, we've been breaking down the tape on what's going on with Coley. And it seems maybe he's landed in a place for more than a few weeks at a time. He's setting up a pro group in Frisco, Texas, which I understand. I'm not a Texas person like you, Eric. I understand that's in the Dallas area.
Yep, that is. It's where Texas Sport Aquatics practices out of.
They don't call him the best color man for nothing.
That's right. That's the kind of data that I rely on.
Like, to give everybody a lay of the land with Texas, it's just pockets of gentrification, very manicured shopping centers with all of the chains that you could ever wish or want.
Sounds like where I live.
Yeah, and then interspersed with nothingness, and then interstate.
We don't have that in New Jersey. No.
So it's exciting out there.
So this comes on the heels of reports that Diaceto is looking to train with Coley possibly here in the U.S. and already. Beryl Gasoldello was interested in doing this. I'll go to you first, Joel. What do you make of our man Stickels finding a semi-permanent home?
I'm good. I don't know the guy. I'm just hey man, anyone gets a job, good on them. I wonder just like, what's the deal with these pro teams? Is this like the new thing? Is that like kind of what we have to have, like power windows in cars? You got like, I'm just gonna have power windows now, or what's what do you get out of the deal for that? You know, I just don't understand. Like, again, do you bring in more money? Do you bring in more kids? Is it?
And what's with these television remotes? Does everybody have to have a remote now for their television?
Is it you get a little gold sticker that you get to put on your banner for your swim team, the gold medal, 1,000-point club, whatever they have, mileage chart thing? I don't know. What do you get? What do you get for being a pro team? The pro team deal. What's the purpose of this thing? Is it nuclear proliferation, or just we got to match what Florida now does? I don't get it. Tell me.
I don't know. I think the answer is we got to get Coley. I got to get Coley to come on a non. Like the swim brief where I just the traditional one where I bring on a guest, because
it seems like a good gig. I mean, it's like kind of coaching college without like pesky rules, like no NCAA, no, you're just going to hang out and you're just going to coach these. Again, you just be a merchant of speed, and we're just going to get up. We're going to do like some med ball throws, sprint 25s. Man, I'm all for that. I just don't understand how the pro thing really benefits a club to do this, to bring this on. Because especially like, again, I don't know the guy, but it just seems like there's been volatility in the past. And as a coach,
volatility is a good word.
I was thinking like, I did a reference for a former diving coach, and the coach that was talking, he's like, yeah, the coach seems really laid back. I really kind of like, I'm kind of a fiery guy. I like having fiery coaches and stuff like. So you want this person's going to be basically like in an area that you're not going to supervise, you're not going to control, and you want a fiery individual that you can get fired over because they dropped an F-bomb, because they upset someone. It's like, I want the most laid back dude ever. There's 1,000 things to get fired for, and a coach dropping an F-bomb next to me is not one of the ones I want to get fired for. It just is, again, it's like you bring in a lot of variability when you have volatility. I mean, you can get some great results, sure. But again, it can also bring down the whole fireworks factory.
Well, and I think you touch on an important topic there. I'm taping 2 pods in the same day, so I'm fresh. I just done one with.
Look at you go!
Yeah. I know. It's amazing. I mean, I just did one with Peter Verhoff, the head swimming and diving coach at the Bowl School, and he worked with Dave Marsh at the Swim Mac Pro team. And one of the things he told me was that the first day he was on the job, Dave Marsh told him, you have to show, because he had him also working within the Swim Mac club. He was working with the pros, but he was also working, with the young kids on the team. You have to show everybody the value of having this pro team, like, because it's not going to work for us to have this pro team up at the top and then everybody else feeling like they're subsidizing pro swimming. That does not work. And that's probably what I'm most curious about with all these pro teams is, yeah, sure, it's super exciting in the beginning. You go, oh, we're going to have a couple world-class swimmers training out here. Yeah, that'll be great for my kid. My kid wants to go to the Olympics, and now you got an Olympic caliber coach who's working with them, and they're going to be able to train with these really fast people. The reality, I think, sets in after 3-4 months, and then they go, so we're paying this guy to coach a handful of people? Like, why?
I think the key word there was feeling. You can't give them the feeling that we're subsidizing them, because we are. That's the thing, is that feeling isn't going to come about when you're not.
Right.
It's coming out because you are subsidizing them. You're giving up lane space. You're paying extra money. Yeah, because again, I don't see what you're getting out of that deal.
Unless there's some magical new business model for this that we don't know about.
That's what I want to know. Again, that's why I'm all for all of these things that we're going to talk about. Like, people making a buck, tell me. I'm broke. Let me know.
Yeah.
Eric, you spent a lot of time in Nebraska. Coley is from Nebraska, so you guys are basically brothers. What do you think about your brother's new gig?
Oh, I had the opportunity to be out in Nebraska in October when he was out there visiting his former club coach and doing some freelance help, if you will, and just getting a sense of what was going on out there. Is that he was helping every group. He wanted to touch base with all of the levels and see what's going on and just kind of be an asset to a coach that gave him an opportunity as an athlete and things like that. So there was a little bit of a giving back, moment for him there, and just seeing what he can, bring to the table in terms of dry land. I feel like this role is primarily labeled as the pro athlete coach. Right now it's one, so there's got, like you said, there's got to be more to it. So being a supplement to a dry land program is going to have to happen. Otherwise you can't, again, subsidize the salary. He's going to be able to do a lot with the senior team in terms of dry land, and then have some ability to take maybe some of the kids for their junior, senior year of high school. They're starting to focus on 50, 100, maybe a 200, where he gets the opportunity to work with them and do a few things differently to help them engage their body in sprinting and swimming just a little bit better. And then thinking about the same thing that's happening out in Mission with Jeff Julian, and him being a pro out there and him having a ton of experience in the club world. I can't imagine that either of them think that they're just going to be completely isolated from the club. Otherwise it wouldn't work. You wouldn't be able to get any board or any owner on deck with this unless it was. I can't even imagine the coach or pro group that would be able to just swing this and not have anything going on. So I'm curious to see how it goes, because again, it hasn't been done a whole lot recently with clubs and having pro groups. So these are trailblazers in a sense, and how this is going to work up there in Dallas. I mean, it's not a bad situation to have that up there. I mean, in Frisco, and just given the number of facilities that are out there for them to have access to long course racing, and especially indoor opportunities, they're not going to have to go very far. The state is massive in between North Texas LSC and South Texas LSC, that primarily is Austin and reaches down into San Antonio. And then obviously the Gulf. They don't have to go more than 3 hours drive to get access to multi-million-dollar natatoriums. So should be interesting to see how that all works out here, especially with worlds changing for whenever the hell it's going to be. So
I personally, and I've said this before, I'm just really curious as always, and people listening know that I have talked to Coley since he stopped working out of Alabama. And in the context of a lot of the other stuff we discuss, what I'm most curious about is, I think that Coley and his whole philosophy and some of his, if I put this in a positive light, his confidence in what he's right about, I don't know necessarily how it fits in to a lot of modern coaching jobs. I think that that points to a bit of that volatility. And what I'm going to be really interested to see is how long this lasts, whether or not Coley, he's always been successful in terms of results. It always been. Yeah. Whether or not, so I think there'll be some outstanding results that will come out of this, but will he be able to, for lack of a better term, play nicely enough with others to sustain what he's doing there? Or will he be sort of like taking his wandering road show somewhere else between now and then? And I don't know how mad he would be listening to that. Maybe that'll influence whether or not I'll actually ever get him to come on here. But can't worry about that. If I talk to him, I'll just say, hey man, I'm just shooting you straight about what I think. And I'll be really curious. I think when we talked, he was he said he was waiting to be a little bit more honest about how things ended at Alabama. So I'm doing a good tease for a Coley podcast. We'll see if I actually do it or not. What do you guys think? Do you think when are we going to get the University of Wisconsin Green Bay protein, Joel? Is that?
Oh, it's already there. Obviously, it's already there. That I just feel bad that whoever captain was, they were running away with Coach of the Year honors for the Horizon League, and now whatever speed bump they've hit it hard, and it's just I would put that captain back on the stick and just let him ride it.
Yeah.
So that's just
that's all we're gonna. That, by the way, that drive-by. That's all we're gonna say about University of Wisconsin Green Bay, formerly America's team, formerly the coachless wonder, and we left it in there just to tweak Jake Shackelford. Do you want to say anything, Eric? Just to be a part of this before.
Are we gonna edit all this out, or are we gonna actually?
No, we're leaving this in. Yeah, we're leaving.
Oh, jeez. All right.
We got to leave in the teasing of Jake for just like a minute because he listens.
Yeah.
No?
Oh, jeez.
All right, fine. Next up, another topic that the whole swimming world waits with bated breath on a daily basis. Are Katie Ledecky's turns getting any better? Has she been listening to the swim brief? Does she know what it is she needs to do to improve? Because that's the key. I think a lot of elite swimmers, they go, what do I need to do to get better? Maybe I'll listen to the swim brief and see if they mention me, right? Or has she been reading the inane comment I got on YouTube from a guy who says that the key to doing a really fast freestyle turn is actually to throw your head violently on the front end. So actually you're wrong, Chris, and she's doing it amazing. So we got some footage from exhibition racing at the University of Florida Auburn dual meet, and we're going to break it down here live, okay, and give you our opinion as we watch it. You guys ready?
I'm ready for it. As I am anytime a train goes by and I think, man, this is going to crash into that school bus. Same kind of anticipation. Yeah. Yep. There it is. Here's the train crashing off the tracks.
Oh, you know what? I did the wrong kind of. This is great. This
What?
is great podcasting.
How
I did the
could you
wrong
have-
kind of
yeah.
screen share. Sorry,
Gee, we didn't see that coming.
nobody saw that coming.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here we go. This is Ledecky here for those of you watching.
One in
on
the
the
women's suit. Huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Okay.
there's another. It's a woman racing over
Natalie-
here.
Oh,
Natalie
okay.
Hines way over
Yeah.
there in lane
Yeah.
7.
All right.
Katie Ledecky, for those who don't know, is not black though. So she's in a practice suit. I think that's worth noting for this race. And it is a mixed heat, men and women. We're going to see. What do you think, guys? We saw one turn. What do you think, Joel?
Yeah, you can see the pause, the center buoyancy gets up a little bit high. And then she throws her head violently, and you have to throw your head violently if you get your center buoyancy up above your center mass like that.
Yeah.
Florida's got great turns generally, and I'm sure this is one of those things they'll iron out. I mean,
I thought that one was better. The second
oh
one.
yeah. The first 25, you can see she was just kind of scrambling.
Looked like she was staring at the wall in that first 25.
What's up with the camera work here? Why does it keep going out of focus?
Because it keeps
the guy
zeroing in
who's-
on the Carhartt hat,
Yeah.
which we're not
Yeah.
getting sponsored by either. So I don't see why you keep letting that get in
Yeah.
the camera like this.
iPhone footage. See, it's
That
interesting.
was better, yeah.
Yeah,
That one was better, yeah.
Eric.
The what?
Go ahead.
I don't know. The one hang up I have about this race, other than the fact that she's struggling with the turns, is why not put her and Natalie next to each other? I mean, I know they're only a lane apart, but this is clearly not a race with the person in between them. And give them something a little bit more of a push. And, Caleb's not doing a whole lot better with his turns on some of these. He's got that up down motion. It's granted it's a whole lot smoother, but it's really not anything anything spectacular. So I am curious, and that was obviously a point of concern in Tokyo when he had that 100 turn, for which he was about a quarter stroke off in totality. And then, just as an aside, as I noticed, I was watching, I didn't realize how not aesthetically pleasing Zane Grothy's stroke was.
Which lane was he in?
That last 25, he was right below Caleb.
Okay,
and
yeah.
It definitely had the air of early teen distance swimmer scramble on that last 25. No offense to any.
Well, he's not swimming well.
Swimmers.
I mean, he went 4:33 in the 500. There's no circumstance where you could say that's a good performance for somebody that's been, I don't know,
which he said he
4:10.
donated blood 4 days before, so I don't know how much of an impact that might have had. But in any event, there wasn't a whole lot of excitement, I guess, or anything overly impressive about that heat. Maybe like the Ledecky splitting in the 200 was good, but I don't know. I mean, it was good to get footage. I'd just like to see, like you said, some kind of improvement. Hopefully, when Joel is correct in that, we're going to see better turns at some point down the road.
Eric, yes or no? Are her turns improved?
Based on that footage, no, absolutely not.
Okay, Joel, yes or no?
Yeah. I think so. I think like, 2 through 7 were much better. The first one was the one that was like, again, like when you just kind of watch the videos, like it's kind of up and out of it. Again, I don't know. I don't know the Auburn pool. Again, it
looked
could
like
just
that,
be
like
like
it was
in a
at
race.
UF. That was at U of F.
Okay.
It just happened to involve Auburn.
Okay. I'm sorry. So I don't. I think it looks all right. Looks like she, this is proving. I don't know where she's at with her training cycle, where she's working on stuff. The first one, she was definitely just kind of out there scrambling. So it'd be interesting to know just more about these races, like going into it, like what's the goal and what they're trying to do.
Yeah, I think they're improved too, and
2 out of 3.
Yeah. So
Eric, you're
as
out.
usual, Eric is the odd man out. And then for this time, Joel and I are the optimists, starry-eyed optimists. Eric,
now,
why do you
don't confuse what I think could happen in the future?
Why you got to be so hard on Ledecky? You're so hard on her.
Hater.
You're such a hater, Eric.
So be it.
I think just watching it, to me, it looks like somebody that's in process of learning to do something new. And it's coming through sometimes, and then sometimes it's reverting to something else that they used to do. And
I think that's the thing, is she's got a lot of things. Obviously, she does really well. It's just this past Olympics, something definitely looks off. And we talked about kind of just that the turn looked like someone that was kind of setting a wall up, basically like, I'm not feeling great. I'm going to get as much as I can off of this wall, and not off the entry into the wall, but the exit of the wall. I'm going to get maximize my kick out, maximize where I'm hitting the breakout, and kind of focusing in on the jump off the wall rather than the approach into the wall. And so hopefully just whatever was going on there is just kind of getting smoothed out. And I think the rest of the stuff will just fix itself.
Yeah. All right. We're going to go from one technical analysis to the next. Something we've done on here before is that we have broken down a video by Race Club, Gary Hall Sr., narrating over these, and I saw one earlier this week on breaststroke, and we've talked about breaststroke quite a bit on here, mainly my breaststroke, and so now I'm on a kick of wanting to know more about
we really didn't do a deep dive into Michael Andrews' incredibly strong groin, so we'll have to make that a podcast
next
for
time.
the kick.
Listen,
next
do you guys both do your homework, on groin strength. Okay.
Yeah.
Get deep into the literature. I want to know the key takeaways on what causes somebody to have an extremely strong groin, what you can do, what you're capable.
We all know that's just hitting the valleys, pinning out that like weird groin strengthening machine that no one's ever on. Just I just pinned it. Would that be the phrase? I just pinned it.
Do you shotgun a can of Foster's and then put the Foster's big can between your thighs and just crush it? Or
before you hit that, it's gotta be the White Claw, the strawberry White Claw between the legs.
Yeah,
I'm just pinning the Bally's groin strengthening machine. Yeah,
right, and then
I would love to see.
And then you turn to the 45-year-old suburban mom who wants to go next on the machine. You go, you want to work in? You say that right after you're done.
I just saw that with the Rocky where with Ivan Drago, and they keep on cutting those 80s machines. That would be a sweet like kind of clip for that, like hitting that thing, crushing White Claw, cutting back over to whatever kind of how many 25s they're doing. Yeah, that'd be sweet.
Yeah. Anyway, enough of Michael Andrew. That was our obligatory Michael Andrew mention of the podcast. Let's get into this video. And I told you guys before this, so I feel like I'm doing above average job of hosting this time because I actually warned you something. And Joel, I think you're like scraping your mic or something in the background. I can hear a sound. But anyway, that's better. Hold still.
It's heart palpitations.
I did a better job of setting it up, better than average, because we're going to play a game here. I'm going to start the video, and whenever you want to interject on what's being shared on the other end, you're just going to yell stop, and we'll take it from there. All right? That's the point where one of you says yes.
Sure thing, boss.
Thank you.
Stop. Wrong video. Oh, there it is. Stop. They misspelled breaststroke. There it is. Okay.
Can you hear that?
Stop. Yeah, we can. Isn't there any other like better free music on like whatever site you dump from? But go ahead. It's like, is this Bonnie Tyler Turn Around Bright Eyes?
We have been fortunate through the years to work with some really talented breaststrokers. Our velocity meter technology has enabled us to understand the nuances of their breaststroke techniques, including the kick, the pull, and what happens in between them.
Okay, so I need to stop.
Wow.
I'm watching Dateline. Somebody accidentally married a serial killer.
It does, yeah, it does feel like we're about to hear, and that was the day that her whole life changed. but we're going to hear about use this technique to make your breaststroke faster. I also want to, I'm stopping it for you, Joel, the velocity meter, the cutting edge technology.
The 70s Russian cutting edge. Yeah. It's brilliance. Yeah.
This is whatever Gennady Sokolovich smuggled out of the USSR with his life. This is still what we're using to measure breaststroke proficiency in this video. Okay, we're going to go on.
One of the most valuable metrics that we now use in breaststroke is the average percentage of loss of the swimmer's velocity that occurs after the breaststroke kick, but before the next pull is taken. This is an effective measurement of the...
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. So on the belt there, at his waist there, what it has is basically that's where basically you're picking up water flow and the speed of it. And so the cool thing about these is you can, along the stroke going, you can see the points where all of a sudden there's monumental drag, and so all of a sudden the speed drops exponentially. And so you see just the valleys that again, I haven't seen all the way through yet, but I'm assuming that's kind of where the kick comes in usually.
Right. No, they're going to be talking about that for sure as you go.
But this isn't average. This isn't average though, isn't this an
No,
instant
it's not
velocity curve?
average. It's
But
instantaneous.
Yeah, that's what he's saying.
Yeah, I can't even, sorry. I when I watch this video, I didn't even pay attention to the actual data that's being shown on screen. I know we made fun of that a lot last time, but this time I confess I didn't even pay attention. I don't understand. If he's been swimming for 29 seconds, but his distance is only 9.1. I'm assuming that's meters.
Yeah, they have to start the data collection early, or this is on the second 25.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, and then he pushes off. Okay. So
I think right there on this stop though, you can kind of see again what'll happen once a person's out of their body line. Just again, he's kind of hitting a trough. It's not as deep as the kick part, but he's hitting a kind of a trough there where he's losing velocity, and it's not because of the kick. It's because again you see where the chest is, and you need to load the chest up to start into that next wave. But the head position, chest position, if you have your head in that position and your chest that position, the vertebrae are going to get kind of locked up, and so he's not able to kind of manipulate through the water as cleanly as he could be. And you also see obviously all the air bubbles coming off that, and that's pretty good indicator. Again, they're just not really holding water. They're not using those kind of vortices as propulsion. They're just it's all drag.
Yeah, at this point, I would just say spoiler alert. The conclusion of this video is, as far as I understand it, you can listen for yourself because we're recording the audio for you here, that having your feet really low when you finish kicking is bad. Don't do that. And I guess that's not wrong, but I find myself disagreeing that is a good piece of advice for people who are trying to use something to get faster at breaststroke. Because if you just focus on where your feet are, you sort of don't address at all what's going wrong or what is preventing you from swimming faster. All right, let's continue.
The swimmer's ability to streamline after the kick with the arms, head, body, legs, and feet. Using VM technology, we were able to compare that metric between two elite breaststrokers, American Mike Alexandrov and Croatian Nikola Obravac. What we discovered was an astounding difference between the two swimmers. We found that Nikola is losing an average of 38% of his velocity after the kicks, while Mike loses an average of 27% of his speed after the kicks. That is a significant difference.
Okay, I agree that 38 is a bigger number than 27. So I just want to give credit.
Confirmed. I just did the research.
You got it?
Yeah.
You plug it into a calculator and...
Yep, fact check.
All right, nice.
The question is why? Both swimmers do an excellent job of streamlining the front end of their breaststrokes with great head, arm, and body positions.
Joel, agree or disagree?
I disagree.
Okay, tell us more.
Oh, really? You want more? I was still doing the math on that 38 to 27 thing. I'm sorry. Yeah, the guy's head position was way low, and so just that previous point where you stopped, you could kind of see again where he was losing a lot of his velocity. It was because just his body position in the water. The second guy, he doesn't have a great body position, but because in the higher tempo kick or whatever, but keeping his hips higher at the surface, basically he's not going to pick up as much drag. Again, if this makes him better, I don't know. Again, the tempo and gait pattern of each individual is so different that it's, again, when you start talking these absolutes, that's what I've always kind of liked about like the Bill Boomer thing was you kind of look at the physics, what are the requirements of the stroke versus, also what are the requirements of this particular athlete, and kind of merging those two things together. versus, well, this is what this guy does. And so then we're going to just, retro design that to fit all. I mean, 2 weeks ago, we we're talking about the late head position breaststroke. Is this the new wave to do it? And again, that guy, he drops, his velocity drops at a different point than everyone else's because of just how he's swimming it. So again, I'm not going into this with a real open mind, I guess, either. So
no, I mean, I mean, just to expand on one of your points, what I disagree with is just sort of the fundamental concept of instruction here. I think you and I have both also heard that technique is a dirty word. I've come to adopt that as a philosophy because, if you start teaching technique, you start focusing on little mechanical pieces and, you start building a stroke that's like, okay, you do this piece, you do an out sweep and then an in sweep and then you recover, and your legs do this and that and this and you can keep pushing it into smaller and smaller little sort of mechanical pieces. And all of a sudden you're not really doing a sport anymore. You're just trying to string a set of techniques together. And in my mind, it just makes it way too hard to swim.
Yeah. And to your point earlier, talking about having the feet finish higher or whatever it is, it's like, he literally can't, like, because of everything, like you said, you're isolating the feet finishing higher, but everything else that's going on within the stroke, he probably really can't finish the feet higher because he has all these other issues that need to be rectified in order for the legs to comfortably be where they are. There's just no way for him to do what Alexandrov is doing because he doesn't have all of the other components going there. And it's clear that Alexandrov is flatter and higher in the water. There's less amplitude than a stroke, which allows him the freedom to finish with higher feet, but he never gets there. It's just his feet are lower, his feet are higher. That's the fix.
Well, let's let him keep talking.
The difference is in how they finish their kicks. Nikola finishes his kick with the legs and feet hanging considerably lower in the water than Mike does. On the top green graph of Nico's VM study, he reaches a peak velocity of 2.11 meters per second just after his kick reaches its peak propulsion. In 0.16 seconds, his speed drops to 1.25
You pause
meters
right
per
there.
second.
I think the thing is, again, this stuff is all, it's obviously, you point out the data like that. But kind of like what Eric was talking about, a lot of times his feet are going, well, just stop doing that. Like he's willfully putting his feet down in the water deeper, or you get a kid that has a crossover freestyle. It's like, well, stop doing that. Well, they're just willfully doing that, or, maybe there's a reason behind it, why it's going on. And you look at already on his, the front end of his stroke, when he's pressing out, he's already pushing himself up out of the water. So it's really kind of early in that wave pattern where he's going up. So the body's going to be dropping down, and the kick, to be able to get up as high as he does, you basically have to kind of kick down a little bit deeper to get up at the point that he's getting up. So rather than kind of using his core to move himself up, out, and then forward in the water, he's using his extremities. And that kind of goes back to, I think a lot of times what they're talking about in some of these other breaststroke videos of hands and feet as the propulsion versus maybe the core being the part of the propulsion. And the hands and feet are just creating the platforms that you're going to move your core through quickly. So rather than moving the arms or the kick quickly, it's more about how the body's moving through the water, which sounds pretty arbitrary, I guess. I don't have these numbers behind me, obviously, and I'm still doing the math on 27 to 38. So,
All right, I'm going to keep letting it run.
Second, a 41%
so right
loss of
there, you see all
velocity.
the air. He's pushing straight up. He's pushing down on the water, going straight up, and again, all this air. I mean, just trying to create all those bubbles. If that was your goal, instead of just swimming fast, just to create those bubbles, be exhausted. I mean, this is a powerful athlete, but again, it's like that's all just waste.
Yeah, actually, I this Croatian breaststroker Nikola, I left this video incredibly impressed with his fitness. Like I need to go back and look and how fast he went, But watching him swim like this, I go, this guy must have been in incredible shape to be whatever level he was at. So kudos to him.
After this one kick, mainly because his legs and feet hang too low and for too long.
Look at that wall that his chest is making right there. And you can see the at the front of his body there, just how that wake pattern looks. It's like, again, when a barge pushes through the water, that would be the wake pattern that a barge would make. And look behind him, all that like white, that's all a vacuum, pulling them backwards as well. So again, it's just, the perspective. If you're looking at extremities and then fixing inwards, I mean, that's one way you can do it. And again, when you got numbers and you got a video, you can make some money off that too. I don't know if it's going to make him better, but you can make some money off the kid.
Yep, absolutely.
On the green graph above in Mike's VM study, he reaches a peak velocity of 2.06 meters per second after his peak kick propulsion occurs. From there, by lifting his legs and pointing his toes better, his velocity
so
drops
at that
to
point, that's what he that's when all of a sudden the interpretation comes in. And like, that's when his peak propulsion from his kick is, or that's the peak propulsion he got from diving off of his core. If you think about like the hips as a platform and he's springing forward off of that platform, that velocity could very well be coming from his trunk diving forward into it. And the feet were more of a placeholder versus, well, he kicked really hard and therefore he went faster.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
You could see the vast difference. And right before this, we got to see Nikolai throw his head down towards the bottom and just cause essentially that chain reaction of everything he has to do after it to come back up to be able to breathe, versus Alexandrov. You just kind of see the head staying connected to the upper body and not being thrown down as far. So he doesn't have to do as much to get back up. So he's just slowing down.
Eric,
Less.
incorrect, by the way, because we've already established that throwing your head violently into the water is the key to swimming fast. And that's the kind of,
all right.
That's the kind of thing you're going to learn at Chris DeSantis swim camp. We're going to do a lot of dry land focused on neck strength, and everybody's going to try to get an 18-inch neck. And what we're
Scandinavian death metal.
Yes.
We're going to take that big muscle neck and throw it around, and we'll show you how you swim. Okay? You and your naysaying.
0.63 meters per second. Mike loses only 21% of his speed after this kick. Between the kick and his pull, his VM curve is much flatter than Nikola's is. The end of the...
Well, you can definitely see, I mean, you mentioned that barge effect, Joel. You can see how much less of a barge Mike Alexandrov is. That's certainly a comparison I feel comfortable drawing, right?
Yeah, I think I guess again, from where I'm coming from, we never had the kind of money to spend on stuff. So you just got to figure things out. Like, well, I can look at the wake patterns and figure out, where resistance is coming in. I don't have a velocity analyzer, which would be kind of a cool thing to have, but you just look at the points of the wake and look at how the bubbles and the rings are coming off the athlete. Again, you look at the bottom, again, all that white water. And then also when he comes out of the water, again, you look at how the chest is like a wall pushing against it. Here, this guy's, again, they're good, really good athletes. They're really good swimmers, but you can see right there, even the chest isn't going to be like a 90-degree perpendicular wall pushing hard against the, yeah, go ahead, Eric.
In that bottom picture, you could arguably put that still out on the internet and ask butterfly or breaststroke.
Right.
Or falling in, belly flopping off of the high dive.
Belly flop contest.
And again, not to make fun of the guy, but that's kind of what water looks like when you slam down hard on it. Not when you you fall out of a boat that's going 90 miles an hour, you look a lot different than when you just fell off the high dive. You're either skipping across the top of the water or you just fell down into it. And the guy in the bottom fell down into it pretty hard.
So you're saying looking like you just belly flopped into the water and then violently throwing your head, that's the key to swimming fast? That's a secret?
As long as you got some violence in there, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
breaststroke kick is one of the 5 common places where we see the hanging feet causing a big drag problem. After studying hundreds of breaststrokers, we found that it is the back end, or the technique of finishing the kick, that is often the bigger cause of frontal drag compared to the way the swimmer streamlines in front. With our propulsion drag technology, we found that the feet hanging is one of the worst causes
This is all
of
stuff they
increased
just like
frontal
pulled
drag.
out. I wonder if they just grabbed all this stuff from USOC or something like that. Hey, let's load up the duffel bags before they see us, and then we're gonna drop it in our pool. But I think the towing machines are really cool. Those are awesome like that. But again, if you have your paradigm and then you can just keep on manipulating things within your paradigm, that's kind of one way to do it. But again, when you look at how that guy was like, his heels are breaking the water, surface of the water every single time, and he's kicking straight down, is like, is this worse than the other way? Yeah, but and I could have saved you about $12,000 in towing apparatus and just told you that. Huh? There you go. Give me 10%. That's it. 10% of the stuff you would have spent, and I'll just tell you that the water looks different on that guy.
Hear that, people? Don't get a velocity meter. Just pay Joel.
Tell you, fall off high dive, did not fall off high dive.
Yeah. Pay Joel, and he'll go, do not fall off high dive. Thank you. I'll take my check now.
Yeah.
Increasing it by 41% compared to having the feet pointed. Great breaststrokers depend on having strong kicks. The last thing they want to do is lose that speed after working so hard to get it. Finish the breaststroke kick by lifting the legs close to the surface,
Finished with a clip
keeping
of
them
Michael
straight,
Andrew.
Do they really? Is that Michael Andrew?
That was Michael Andrew.
and by
Look
pointing
at
the
you
toes
go!
backwards.
That's still Alexandrov, but the clip from above looked like Michael Andrew.
This one?
Yeah. Just the way that looked, just the
Legs close to the surface, keeping them straight, and by
Sorry, I didn't
pointing
go
the
back
toes
far.
backwards.
it looked like it. I don't know.
After
Maybe it's just
working
the
so
technique.
hard
It just
to
looks
get
like
That's the other guy.
Finish.
This
But again,
one.
you can see the different wake patterns. The other guy had kind of like the V one. This guy, you can see when his chest is hitting the water. I mean, that's part of the thing that makes him really good, is that he strikes the surface and he goes forward kind of like a surfboard pushing off the top of a wave. And that's what he does pretty well. The head position part, he's already kind of, again, diving it down into the stroke and without the body line so much. But when he hits, the way the water kind of reflects off of his body, you can tell that he's really.
it looks like it.
Yeah, it just looks
Probably
like he's
the other
surfing.
end made Michael Alexandrov, but it definitely looks like strong groin Andrews.
Me, Michael. Groin strong. Kick hard.
Yeah, there you go. Well, there you go. I mean, that was devoid of entertainment, but what the heck?
Yeah. Hey, just like always, the point of this podcast is not to entertain other people. It's just
It's to entertain Chris.
That's
That's
actually
what we're
just
here
me.
for.
Not even you guys.
No.
I was going to include you guys, but to be honest, I don't care.
Yeah, I
Well,
know.
it's entertaining for me, but that's because I'm caught up, stuck in a hotel room for 5 days. So
Yeah. Well, we're going to let you get along with your work day. Thank you guys for joining me and covering this whole ground. And oh my God, I'm going to almost sign off without saying happy trails to one of my favorite swimmers of all time, the sprint queen from the Netherlands, Renomi Kromowidjojo. Sad to see her go. She's had an absolutely phenomenal career. Speaking of how a swimmer uses their legs to go incredibly fast, I think more so than any other swimmer, that is the one that I have shown people to say, yeah, like, let's try to do something like this. And one of the highlights of my podcasting, social media, whatever career was pointing that out in a video and then getting retweeted by Renomi the one time when she was like, heck yeah, I'm awesome at that. So sad to see her go. And but like, what an incredible career, and happy
and
trails.
arguably the most fun last name in swimming.
And
Yes.
and we're still waiting on Austin Suroff to say hi to his dad for us. So
Right.
you know,
No, yeah.
when are we gonna get the tweet on that?
Yeah. or Fike to get involved in my breaststroke comeback and, share with me the 39-year-old man wisdom of how to go really fast. Right? Maybe someday.
Correct.
Thank you, everybody listening. We'll be back again next week, probably, unless something comes up, because it might. And appreciate all your feedback. Heard from a number of you on last week's podcast, so please feel free to reach out whenever, except if you have something negative to say, then please don't. And
send us to ewaken at
I'm happy to provide Eric's email address if you have negative commentary to share with the pod.
Bring it on, Jake.
Okay. Bye.